just feel so connected to this. They feel like Nancy Guthrie is almost like their grandmother, America's mom. Great reporting out there. We'll check back in with you soon. Brian, thank you so much. We're going to bring in digital security expert Ricoh Danielson. Ricoh, nice to see you again. What can you tell us about the difficulty in testing DNA samples that Brian outlined there for us that are mixed, as the Pima County Sheriff says?
Hey there, good to see you guys. Absolutely. Whenever you introduce multiple streams of DNA, that means you have two different streams of DNA that are maybe compatible or not compatible. And if they're independent of each other, they have to be tested in individual basis itself. So what that'll do is elongate the process. That'll actually do different toxicology reports and also different micro reports as well. So unfortunately, now it's a waiting game and also a very elongated process. If you ask me, this could have been handled a little bit differently. There's tons of labs in Phoenix, Arizona, and also in the closer region with more complex and more feasible ways and also faster ways to get down to the root causes of the DNA.
Yeah, we're showing that video again of the blood there on her doorstep, and hope is really running thin after, now we're at day 22. And yeah, hope is really running thin, and authorities have been using this device known as a signal sniffer to try to help seek out Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker. They put it on a helicopter. We reported that last weekend. I want to know your thoughts on how this device was used and if a helicopter is the best way to use this signal sniffer, because you have to be quite close to the pacemaker's Bluetooth signal, don't you?
Absolutely. So the sniffer itself is actually one of those applications, also devices that'll pick up low frequency 802.1 or even smaller frequencies at the radar level, right? And also the pacemaker level. The other thing that the FBI is more than likely using is this thing called the Stingray, which also pick up not only telecommunication networks and also cell phone signals if the pacemaker talked back to a device of some sort, like a cell phone. So with these two things mixed together, I wouldn't be surprised if they get tons of metadata. Now, how to comb through that, it's a different strategy. Using a helicopter, absolutely, it's a good, effective way of doing it. You're gonna have to fly very, very low and very, very almost to the rooftop level, but it is a good, effective way to span the searching.
All right. Well, Nancy's home, it's about an hour or so from the U.S.-Mexico border, and the FBI sources telling News Nation's Libby Dean they reached out to Mexican authorities pretty much immediately after Nancy Guthrie went missing, and those authorities there in Mexico said there isn't an indication that Nancy has been taken over the border. What are your thoughts on that possibility? Because this does keep coming up.
Right, that's a good question. With regards to the cartel, Sinaloa cartel, New Generation cartel, and whatnot, this doesn't really seem to fit their pedigree. Because remember, if you ever look at some of their stuff, they're very notorious of releasing proof of life, usually handcuffed behind your back, a threatening note, a ransom note, and they're very quick to have their money be a means to facilitate their money sooner than later. So this doesn't fit the pedigree of a cartel, if you will.
All right. Well, you specialize in phone forensics, I understand. My producers are telling me. I didn't realize that. So with the raid we saw last week on neighbors of Nancy's and multiple people of interest taken into custody and released, how do you think investigators are using phone data right now in this case?
Yeah, cell phone forensics is, my bread and butter. One of the things that we definitely look into is cell phone telemetry, right? As soon as new cell phones enter the triangulation of where the cell phones itself are picked up at, there's tons of cell phone towers within this home right here. I wouldn't be surprised if whenever they pick up those metadata points, triangulate those, which device came in, which new device came in as well. There's a lot of data to be unpacked there, and also that Stingray device, which is given by former law enforcement, also FISA. I wouldn't be surprised if they're leveraging that as well. The biggest and fastest way to determine is what new device came in and what new device left those triangulations.
All right, and you got to imagine phone forensics investigators are working through everything. With the other breaking news we're following today as well, with the 21-year-old who broke onto the property there at Mar-a-Lago armed with a shotgun and a gas can and was taken out by law enforcement there. You got to imagine they're looking through all of his devices in similar fashion. Thank you so much for joining us today, national security expert Ricoh Danielson. Nice to see you.
Likewise.